Why is it that some women don't have to say much? Yet men can't stop thinking about them. It's not just charm. It's not even physical beauty. There's something deeper, something invisible that speaks directly to the unconscious. According to Carl Jung, the answer lies in a powerful psychological force called the Anima, the feminine archetype that lives deep within every man's psyche. It's not about who she is on the outside, but what she awakens on the inside. You see when a woman carries a quiet mystery, when she doesn't reveal everything about herself. Something happens in a man. It triggers projection, fantasy, emotional gravity. But why? In today's video, we're diving into this overlooked yet magnetic force, the feminine mystery, and how it activates unconscious desire, reveals the shadow and shapes emotional obsession in subtle, powerful ways. We'll explore Jungian psychology, the nature of the shadow, and why mystery, not clarity, is often what creates the strongest pull. By the end, you won't just understand attraction, you'll understand yourself better. So if you've ever been haunted by someone you couldn't explain, or drawn to an energy that you didn't fully understand, this one's for you. Let's talk about a powerful psychological force most people have never even heard of, yet it shapes almost every romantic connection a man experiences. Carl Jung called it the Anima, the feminine image that lives deep within a man's unconscious mind. It's not something we're taught about in school, and yet it quietly influences who we're drawn to, why we fall in love, and even why some people stay in our minds long after they've left our lives. The anima is more than just a psychological term. It's the emotional blueprint, the invisible template of the feminine that each man unconsciously holds. This image isn't based on logic. It's not about what a woman says or how she looks. It's about how she feels to him, how her presence resonates with this deep inner symbol of femininity. You've probably seen it happen or felt it yourself. A man meets a woman he barely knows. She says almost nothing. But something about her gaze, her stillness, her energy grabs him, and he can't explain why. That's not just chemistry, that's projection. His unconscious recognizes something familiar, something he's been carrying all along, and he places it onto her. When a woman mirrors a man's inner anima, even if only partially, he feels an instant pull. It's as if a part of him is being awakened, or more accurately reflected. This is why men often talk about love at first sight. Not because they know the woman, but because they recognize a part of themselves in her. It's not rational. It's deeply emotional. And often it's beyond words. But here's the twist: the anima isn't always realistic. It's built over time from childhood impressions, emotional imprints, stories, even media. So when a woman aligns with that image, she becomes a kind of mirror for the man's inner world, even if he doesn't realize it. That's why some men obsess over women who are emotionally unavailable, or why they can't stop thinking about someone who wasn't even that involved. The relationship isn't just with her, it's with a part of himself that she unconsciously represents. And this isn't just about romance, it's about personal growth. Because when we understand the anima, we stop chasing ghosts. We stop expecting others to complete us. And we begin doing the inner work to understand what we're truly looking for. So next time you feel an instant connection or see someone fall fast and hard, ask this: is it love? Or is it a reflection? Let's talk about something deeper. Something most people don't realize is happening when they're magnetically drawn to someone mysterious. Have you ever met someone whose presence stirred something inside you, something beyond attraction, like they saw a part of you that even you couldn't explain? That's not coincidence. That's your unconscious trying to speak. Carl Jung had a name for this experience. He called it the shadow. The shadow is the hidden part of you, the version of yourself you've suppressed, rejected, or simply never brought into the light. And often, it's not the charming, polished part of us. It's the uncomfortable truth, the pain we've buried, the emotions we've avoided. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Sometimes a woman doesn't attract a man because she's perfect or ideal. She attracts him because she unknowingly mirrors something he hasn't faced within himself. And the more mysterious, emotionally sovereign, or quietly confident she is, the more that mirror becomes powerful. That magnetic pull isn't always about her. It's about what she awakens in him. Let me give you an example. A man might find himself obsessed with a woman who's emotionally elusive. She's not cold, but she doesn't give everything away. She's soft, yet grounded, deep, yet distant. He starts feeling like he needs her presence to feel complete. But what's really happening? She's triggering his abandonment wound. She's activating the part of him that felt invisible as a child. And his shadow, the wounded boy inside, starts chasing what feels like healing. This is where we mistake chemistry for destiny. We think she must be the one, when in truth, she's the one showing you what's unhealed within you. Jung called this projection. We project onto others what we refuse to see in ourselves, both our light and our darkness. When a man says, "I don't know why I'm so drawn to her," it's often because she embodies something he lost or never claimed. Sometimes it's his forgotten sensitivity. Sometimes it's his repressed emotions. Sometimes it's his fear of vulnerability that she effortlessly embodies without words. And here's the painful truth. The deeper the wound, the stronger the attraction. But this is also the opportunity. Because shadow work isn't about pushing people away. It's about becoming conscious of why we're drawn to them in the first place. It's about asking ourselves, what part of me is waking up right now? Why do I feel triggered, exposed, or obsessed? The woman isn't the enemy. She's not even necessarily your soulmate. She's the mirror. And mirrors don't lie. They reveal. So what does this mean for men who find themselves chasing the mystery? It means the path forward isn't outward, it's inward. It means healing isn't found in fixing her or possessing her. It's found in facing yourself. Shadow work begins when you stop asking, "Why is she doing this to me?" and start asking, "Why am I feeling this way?" Because the real power of her mystery isn't that she hides something from you. It's that she awakens something within you. Something forgotten. Something you've pushed away for years. And now you're being called to meet it. Not to be consumed by it, but to finally reclaim it. Have you ever walked into a room, and without a word, one person somehow shifts the entire energy? They're not the loudest, not the flashiest. They don't even try to stand out, yet you feel something around them. You can't explain it, but it's real. That is the power of emotional frequency. You see, in a world obsessed with appearance filters and surface-level charm, we forget that true magnetism isn't what you see, it's what you feel. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." And here's the truth. That reaction, that spark, it often begins with a vibration, a felt experience before a single word is spoken. Now let's talk about feminine energy. Feminine energy isn't just softness, beauty, or seduction. In fact, some of the most captivating women are not the ones trying to impress, but the ones deeply in tune with their own emotional world. When a woman lives from her authentic emotional truth, when she doesn't numb her feelings, doesn't pretend, doesn't perform, she begins to emit a kind of emotional frequency. It's not loud, but it's deeply moving. She becomes magnetic not because she's trying to be, but because she's aligned. This is why some people light up a room and others just fill it. Have you ever met someone and felt instantly safe or moved by their presence even if you barely knew them? That's energetic resonance. It's the result of someone who's embodied, someone who's not hiding behind a mask, but radiating from a place of wholeness. Now let's bring this back to attraction. When men are drawn to mysterious women, it's often not about the mystery of what she's hiding, but the mystery of what she's holding. She's holding emotion, truth, depth. She's not performing for the world, she's simply being. And that's enough. And that's rare. Because we live in a time where noise is mistaken for value and overexposure is confused with connection. But authentic feminine energy isn't about exposure. It's about embodiment. This kind of presence can't be taught in a charm school or mimicked through a TikTok trend. It comes from a deeper place, a place where a woman has made peace with her emotions, where she doesn't run from discomfort but breathes through it, where she doesn't need attention because she has already given it to herself. And here's what's wild: men feel this. Even if they can't explain it, even if they don't understand Jungian theory or vibrational frequency, they feel something real. And that feeling becomes unforgettable. That's why some women leave a lasting impression even after just a brief conversation. It wasn't what they said. It wasn't what they wore. It was how they made you feel. This is what we mean when we say feminine power isn't seen, it's felt. Let's take a moment and reflect. In your own life, who are the people you remember? Not because of what they looked like, but because of how they made your heart pause. Was it the way they listened? Was it the peace in their silence? Was it their emotional presence? Made you feel like you could finally breathe. That's feminine energy at work. And it's not gender-locked. Men can embody this too. But in its essence, feminine energy is about receiving, feeling, holding, and intuitively moving through the world. It doesn't chase. It doesn't beg. It simply is. So when a man says, "I can't stop thinking about her," he's not just talking about her smile or the way she walks. He's talking about her frequency, the part of her that touched something deep within him. A part maybe he hadn't even met before. And that is the beginning of transformation. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever met someone you didn't even know that well? But after they entered your life, something in you changed. Maybe you became more self-aware. Maybe they didn't tell you what to do or try to fix you. But somehow just being around them made you want to become a better version of yourself. That is the power of energy. You see, some women don't enter a man's life to complete a fantasy. They enter to wake him up. Not with words, not with effort, but with their presence. Carl Jung spoke about this phenomenon in the context of archetypes and unconscious transformation. When a woman is living from her authentic core, when her emotional energy is aligned, and she's not performing for the world, she becomes what Jung would call a catalyst. She doesn't demand change. She inspires it. This type of woman doesn't need to manipulate or control. She simply exists at a different frequency, and that frequency either resonates with something in you or shakes the parts of you that have been asleep for far too long. Let's break this down. When a man meets a woman who embodies her truth, who feels deeply, lives with emotional depth, and doesn't pretend, she mirrors back to him all the places where he's disconnected from himself. He starts to feel emotions he hasn't felt in years. He questions his own patterns. He becomes more present, more reflective, more open. It's not always comfortable, but it's transformational. Why? Because this kind of connection forces him to confront the gaps in his own identity, the parts of him that long for intimacy, vulnerability, and emotional depth, but never had a safe space to access them. That space, she creates it, not with effort, but with energy. You've probably heard the phrase, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But what if some people come into your life to awaken the parts of you that you've abandoned? They don't stay forever. They don't need to. Because their gift was never permanence. It was transformation. We often think soul growth comes from books, therapy, life experience. And yes, all of that matters. But sometimes a single encounter with a deeply grounded, emotionally awake woman can trigger a spiritual shift far greater than years of silent struggle. Men may say, I don't know what it is about her. She doesn't try. She's not like the others. But I can't stop thinking about her. That's not obsession. That's activation. She awakened his inner mirror. The parts of him he's ignored, denied, or numbed suddenly start speaking again. And what's even more fascinating, she doesn't even try to do this. She doesn't show up to heal him or fix anyone. She just lives as herself, fully, authentically, deeply. That is her power, and that's what makes her feel mysterious. Not because she's hiding something, but because she's tapped into something most people have forgotten, emotional truth. This is what Jung meant when he said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And sometimes the way we become who we truly are is by meeting someone who already is. They hold the mirror. We do the work. But their presence changes the entire direction of our inner life. So if you've ever met someone like this, a woman who didn't need to convince or impress, but somehow changed the way you see yourself, don't chase her. Honor the lesson. Because she was never meant to fill a role. She was meant to open a door to your deeper self, to your emotions, to your capacity to feel, to connect, to grow. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real definition of love, not someone who completes you, but someone who awakens you. So, what have we really uncovered today? We started with Jung's concept of Anima, the internal image of the feminine within the male psyche. We explored how mystery isn't emptiness, but a canvas where imagination paints emotion. We dove into the shadow and how a woman's depth can stir what a man has buried within himself. We talked about emotional energy, the silent frequency that speaks louder than words. And we ended with this: truth transformation doesn't always begin with action. It often begins with presence. A mysterious woman isn't magnetic because she plays games or hides behind masks. She's magnetic because she unconsciously touches the parts of us we've never fully named. Her presence doesn't entertain the ego. It awakens the soul. And that kind of pull, it's not about charm or control. It's about depth meeting depth, about something sacred being stirred inside without even knowing why. So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt drawn to someone and couldn't explain why? Was it chemistry? Or was it a mirror? Could it be that you were being pulled toward a version of yourself, the one you've yet to fully meet? Think about it. Because sometimes the people who confuse us the most are the ones who reflect the parts we're still trying to understand. That's not just attraction. That's soul-level recognition. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your story. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been captivated by someone without fully understanding the reason? And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, so you don't miss the next video where we'll go deeper into emotional projection, energetic connection, and how relationships are often reflections of your own inner landscape.